All right, so you want the lowdown on the Orie condo in Toa Payoh? Should you buy it, or is it a pass? 1 minute, huh? Well, we've done our homework, got in-depth reviews, price comparisons, even snagged the developer's brochure. And get this piece of land was actually the priciest in all of Singapore. Geet out River Valley, can you believe it? So, what do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So the Ori, it's a brand new launch in Toa Payoh. First one in 8 years, actually. Big names behind it too. CDL, Frasers Property, and Sekisui House. They've got, well, a pretty good range of units. From one bedroom with a study all the way up to 5 bedrooms. Modern design, of course, and all the bells and whistles you expect, 50-meter lap pool, tennis court, all that jazz.
Now, I was flipping through the brochure, and they keep mentioning this origami theme. Is that just marketing fluff, or does it actually mean something?
You know what? It's not just marketing this time. The origami concept,
Yeah.
it actually shows up in the architecture and landscaping. They've got these angled ledges, vertical fins, and a really cool layered approach with the greenery. Could actually help it stand out, I think, from those typical condos you see everywhere in Toa Payoh.
Okay, so it's unique. But our listener needs to make a decision, and fast.
Right.
So let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
What are the big pros and cons to think about here?
Okay, well, let's start with location, 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 right? Toa Payoh, it's got this, what they call a heartland vibe.
Heartland.
Yeah, so that basically means it's well-established, residential, a strong sense of community and amenities. You're surrounded. Markets, hawker centers, parks, you name it. Schools, healthcare, everything's nearby.
So convenient, sounds nice.
Yeah.
But how does it stack up investment-wise?
Yeah.
Compared to those trendier districts?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, it's not prime district level. Got to be honest about that.
Oh.
But there is potential. They've got this new integrated development coming up. By 2030, it should be ready. Could really boost the area. And don't forget the HDB upgraders. A lot of them have their eye on condos like the Ori. Resale flat prices are strong right now, so they've got a decent chunk of change to put towards a condo. Like, for example, 3-room flats in Bidadari. Those are selling for, what, $900,000 or more?
Wow.
Yeah.
So they've got some cash. But wouldn't that also mean more competition from those existing condos in Toa Payoh? Especially if they're cheaper.
Oh, absolutely. You've got places like gem residences nearby, similar units, potentially lower prices. So yeah, that's definitely something to weigh up. Now let's talk about the units themselves. Ori's got a wide range, which is good, caters to different needs, singles, couples, families. And they've got this dumbbell layout in a lot of the units.
Dumbbell.
Yeah, basically it minimizes wasted corridor space, makes even the smaller units feel bigger.
Clever.
Yeah, it's a good design.
And I see they've got those dual key units too. What exactly are those, and why would someone want one?
Right, so a dual key unit, it's basically like having 2 apartments in one, each with its own entrance, The Ori's 3-bedroom dual keys. They're well designed, I have to say. Could be good for multi-generational families. Or if you want to rent out one side, for some extra income.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it sounds like the Orie has a lot going for it, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room. That record-breaking land cost. What does that actually mean for buyers, price-wise?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Higher land cost means higher prices for the buyer, obviously, compared to older condos in Toa Payoh, at least. So the question is, are those HDB upgraders willing to pay a premium? Especially when they have other options, like gem residences, for example.
That's a tough call, and it's not like the Orie is the only new launch out there. What else is on the market that our listeners should be aware of?
Oh, there's a bunch. Popping up all over Singapore, some with lower starting prices, different locations, of course. You've got Lentoria, the Botany at Dairy Farm, the Lake Garden Residences, to name a few. So, yeah, location's going to be a big factor. Got to weigh those preferences carefully.
Lots to think about. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Big picture, the property market. It's January 2025 right now as we're recording this.
Yeah.
Any hints about where prices might be headed?
Honestly, it's like looking into a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But recent launches, EOK, Chuan Park, they did pretty well. Average prices above $2,500 PS.
Wow, that's high.
Yeah, it is. So could be a good sign for the Ori, right? But it also means prices could keep climbing.
So there's definitely some risk involved.
Oh, for sure. A lot depends on interest rates, the economy, buyer demand. It's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, it is. So we've covered a lot of ground. Location, unit types, price, the market. My head's spinning. But I guess the big question is the Orie actually worth buying?
I mean, there's no easy answer. It all comes down to, your personal situation, what you're looking for, your priorities. But maybe we can break it down. A few key questions to think about.
All right, I like it. Lay it on me.
Okay, so first things first. your budget. Can you actually afford the Ori? I mean, these prices, they're not exactly peanuts. You got to compare to other options. Make sure you're not stretching yourself too thin, you know?
Yeah, good point. Nobody wants to end up house poor. What else should we be thinking about?
Okay, so think about your lifestyle. That heartland vibe we talked about, does that appeal to you? You know, a bit further from the city center. But you've got that strong sense of community, all those convenient amenities right on your doorstep.
Yeah, finding that right fit is important.
Exactly. And then there's your investment goals. Are you mainly looking for a place to live? Or are you hoping for some serious capital appreciation?
So if you're looking to flip it quickly, the Ori might not be the best bet.
Well, it's not quite that simple. I mean, there is potential for gains, but there's also more risk. You know, with those premium prices.
Okay, so it's a balancing act. Anything else our listeners should keep in mind?
Definitely. Even if the Ori seems perfect on paper, pay attention to the specific unit you're choosing. Not all layouts are created equal, like those dumbbell layouts. They can be great for space, but some of the larger units, they have those long corridors. And if you're a balcony person, you know, like to enjoy those evening drinks with a view, make sure you check the floor plans. Some of those balconies are pretty tiny.
Yeah, details matter. They can make a big difference in how you actually live in the space.
Absolutely. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget those extra costs. Stamp duty, legal fees, all that. It's easy to overlook them when you're focused on the sticker price.
Yeah, those sneaky little costs can add up. Anything else we should be aware of?
Well, it's always a good idea to check the developer's track record.
Oh, right.
I mean, CDL, Frasers Property, Sekisui House, they're all reputable names, but it's always good to do your homework. See how their past projects have fared, you know?
Yeah, like checking the reviews before you buy anything important.
Exactly. And while those amenities sound amazing, it's worth looking into the management fees. Luxury often comes with a price tag.
Good point. So we've talked about budget, lifestyle, investment goals, layouts, developer track record, even management fees. I think we've given our listener a pretty comprehensive checklist. Any final words of wisdom before we wrap things up?
I think the biggest thing is just remember to do your research. Knowledge is power, right? Especially when you're talking about, you know, big financial decisions like this.
So true. Take your time, weigh your options carefully, and don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no stupid questions when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, even if the Ori isn't the one for you, I think what we've talked about today, you know, about Toa Payoh, the condo market, all that stuff is valuable no matter what. It's all part of the learning process, right?
Absolutely. Think of this as your crash course in Singapore real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of resources, don't forget to check out the show notes. We've got links to all the articles we mentioned, plus a link to the Ori brochure. You can check out those layouts, the amenities, all that good stuff.
Yeah, go do some more digging.
All right, well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Happy house hunting, everyone. It's a jungle out there.
It is. But hey, maybe you'll find your dream home. All right, we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive, where we go deep so you don't have to.